Some lessons we learn throughout life have the power to challenge common sense, and that's precisely why they become so transformative. They force us to reassess our beliefs and question widely accepted truths. One of these lessons, which completely changed the way I view business and life, is this: only lazy people use their own money. It may sound like a provocative or even controversial statement, but it is deeply rooted in the reality of success. And throughout my journey, this truth has proven to be more powerful than I could have imagined. For much of my journey, I didn't have enough money to fund the projects I dreamed of realizing. It wasn't a matter of lack of will or ideas. The issue was purely financial. Many, when faced with this lack of resources, might have given up or simply accepted that their dreams were out of reach. But for me, this limitation, which many would see as an insurmountable obstacle, became one of the greatest drivers of my growth. Need turned into a creative force. Instead of paralyzing me, it forced me to look for alternatives, to learn quickly, and to develop one of the most valuable skills anyone can acquire: the ability to raise capital. At the time, modern tools like crowdfunding or online platforms simply didn't exist. There were no shortcuts or ready-made solutions. What existed in reality was a highly competitive and skeptical market where convincing others of the value of your ideas was a constant challenge. This meant I had to do the hard work. It wasn't just about having a good idea. It was about researching, negotiating, building networks of trust, and structuring businesses that delivered solid, tangible results. Time passed, and with it came the discovery of something I now consider one of life's greatest truths. True wealth doesn't lie in the money you have, but in the ability to turn opportunities into reality, even when resources seem scarce. This scarcity mindset, the idea that success depends only on immediate resources, is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who remain paralyzed by their own limitations. The big difference between successful people and those who fall by the wayside lies in how they view obstacles. While some see themselves trapped by the lack of money, others, like my rich dad, know that success is ultimately about creativity, persistence, and the willingness to act in search of solutions. If you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know my rich dad always said something that stuck with me. Never say you can't afford something. He was firm in teaching that the scarcity mindset, the one expressed in phrases like "I can't afford that," is what keeps so many people stuck in a life of financial difficulties. To him, this was an easy excuse for those who refused to seek solutions. When something seemed out of reach, he challenged me to look beyond the lack of resources and focus on finding ways to acquire whatever was necessary. "How can I pay for this?" was the question he always encouraged me to ask. This simple shift in perspective is what, over the years, led me to explore paths I never would have imagined if I had accepted the excuse of not having enough money. Instead of focusing on limitations, I began to see possibilities. This mindset contrasted deeply with what I learned from my poor dad. I remember one phrase from him that for me was disconcerting: "I would be a rich man if I didn't have children." These words, often repeated, frustrated me because they sounded like an attempt to blame external circumstances for his failures. One day, in a moment of frustration, I couldn't hold back and responded, "Dad, that's not my fault. You chose to have children." At that moment, it seemed clear to me that, although he had his financial difficulties, he was creating a narrative of powerlessness that prevented him from seeking concrete solutions. Even so, he insisted, "I can't afford this because I have children." This justification, though common, is a trap that prevents any progress. It reflects the mindset of someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own choices and clings to the idea that something or someone, a stroke of luck or an external circumstance, will save them. My rich dad used to say, "That's why he's poor, because he refuses to take responsibility. He expects something or someone to save him." This phrase, often repeated, stayed etched in my mind. He taught me that poverty is not just a financial issue, but also a mindset. People who wait to be saved by others or by external circumstances do not take control of their lives. They remain stagnant, stuck in a cycle of excuses and lamentations, while the world around them moves forward. What my rich dad taught me is that true financial freedom and success don't come from a life without obstacles, but from the ability to take responsibility, to ask, what can I do to change this situation? And from that answer, to take action. He constantly challenged me to be creative, not to depend solely on what I already had, but to learn how to raise capital, find allies, form partnerships, and most importantly, think outside the box. This action-oriented mentality, focusing on solutions rather than problems, is what allowed me to overcome financial struggles and reach my goals. This difference between my two dads was crucial in shaping my view of money and success. My poor dad was highly educated, always seeking more degrees and relying on stable jobs. However, he never learned how to create wealth, and that was his greatest limitation. This mindset is prevalent in many schools and society in general, an excessive emphasis on security, stability, and risk aversion. The result? Generations of people who don't understand how money truly works and believe that formal education is enough to guarantee success. On the other hand, my rich dad always taught me that true freedom lies in the ability to think independently and creatively. He forbade me from saying, "I can't afford this." Instead, he encouraged me to ask, "How can I pay for this?" This shift in mindset showed me that raising capital is much more than a financial act. It is an exercise in creativity, resilience, and vision. This approach led me to learn how to identify opportunities, create value, and convince others to believe in my ideas. Raising capital is not just about money, it's about developing skills that go beyond the obvious. It requires thinking innovatively, building strong relationships, and most importantly, never accepting limitations as definitive. This mindset allowed me to face challenges with confidence and turn problems into opportunities, showing that success doesn't depend on what you have, but on what you are capable of creating. Discover how to do it. That's the key. Throughout my life, I've realized that the phrase, "I don't have money," is the laziest excuse someone can use. Whenever I faced projects or challenges, I never had extra money. And you know what? I like that. Not having money forces me to think, to be creative, to educate myself, and most importantly, to seek out those who know more than I do. My entire life has been shaped by this principle. If I need money, I figure out how to raise it. At 72, I can proudly say that I've never let a lack of resources stop me. It's easy to say, "I can't afford that." That's what most poor people do. They ask for higher taxes on the rich, more free education, more benefits and subsidies. To me, that's just laziness disguised as demands. I learned early on that not having money is not a barrier. It's an opportunity. My journey began with a small piece of property, an $18,000 condo. I could have used my own money to buy it, but I chose the more challenging and at the same time, more rewarding path. I raised the capital. Yes, it was a small deal, but it was the first step in understanding how to turn limitations into possibilities. This property generated infinite returns because I knew how to invest and, above all, pay back what I had raised. I learned from my rich dad that I should never say, "I can't do this." That phrase is poison to the mind. While my family repeated that excuse, my rich dad taught me to ask, "How can I do this?" And that's how, in 1973, I started building my wealth, one step at a time. Not everything was a smooth ride. In 1974, I invested in my first business, a line of nylon wallets for surfers. It was a total failure. We bought 100,000 wallets from Korea, racked up $600,000 in debt, and simply couldn't sell them. My rich dad laughed at me as I sat in a warehouse full of unsold products, wondering where I had gone wrong. But it was in this crisis that I learned a valuable lesson. Mistakes make us smarter. While we tried to save the business, I read in the newspaper about a runner facing a curious problem. He had nowhere to store his car key while running. It was a simple issue, but it sparked a great idea. That's how we created the shoe pocket. We published the concept in a magazine, and suddenly our sales skyrocketed. We went from the red to being a success. I learned that when you connect your creativity to a real need, the market responds. These experiences taught me that using your own money is too easy. Only lazy people do that. Raising capital requires intelligence, vision, and courage. That's why I always say that if you're stuck with the "I can't afford it" mindset, the real problem isn't in your wallet, it's in your head. In my journey, I've raised hundreds of millions of dollars because I never accepted limits. If I didn't have money, figured out how to get it. And that's the big lesson. True wealth starts when you stop seeing obstacles and start creating solutions. I once witnessed a powerful story that transformed my life. A man returned to the spot where he had parked his car, and to his surprise, it was no longer there. His car had been stolen. The situation directly connected to a headline I had read in a newspaper: "What can runners do with their keys?" There was an obvious problem, practically begging for a solution. That's when I had the idea to create the shoe pocket. I designed the concept, published it in an edition of Playboy, with a striking image: a young woman wearing a pair of sneakers that featured the innovative pocket. Suddenly, we were in the spotlight. When the publication reached readers, the product exploded. We became an instant success. Investors threw money at us. Shoes with pockets were selling like hotcakes, and sales soared. However, even with all the euphoria, we faced a huge challenge: how to finance our stock in the face of enormous global demand. The demand was so high that we decided to seek more resources. I borrowed $100,000 and trusted my partner at the time, Stenio, to solve the inventory problem. I handed him the check, believing it was the solution, but he simply ran off with the money. To make matters worse, he had the audacity to say I still owed him something. It was a six-figure mistake, a bitter but essential lesson. This experience taught me priceless lessons about business, investments, and, above all, mindset. The first and most important of them is: invest in what you love. My passion for business, real estate, gold, and silver has always guided my choices and shaped my view of what success means. For me, investing in what I love goes far beyond following a trend or applying ready-made formulas. It's the passion that sustains the dedication needed to persevere through the highs and lows, that keeps us motivated even in the toughest challenges, and that transforms every obstacle into an opportunity for learning and growth. Many say, invest in what's easiest. I deeply disagree. What's easy may bring temporary results, but investing in what you love creates purpose, meaning, and a lasting connection to what you do. And that's what truly distinguishes sustainable success from the fleeting kind. Being an entrepreneur is, to me, an endless journey of learning, discovery, and overcoming challenges. It's like living in a perpetual episode of Shark Tank, a world where every new idea is an opportunity, and every problem is a puzzle waiting to be solved. The pursuit of growth never stops. I am constantly searching for new businesses, new strategies, and innovative ways to turn problems into real solutions. This process, though challenging, is what makes the life of an entrepreneur so rewarding. Every project I build is not just a reflection of my ideas, but also a meaningful contribution to the people I impact. However, my journey has also revealed a troubling truth that deserves attention. Our schools fail miserably at teaching financial education. Knowing how to manage money, interpret financial statements, understand cash flow, and make strategic decisions are crucial skills for success, but they are rarely taught in the education system. Instead, schools encourage a traditional path of stability: seek a secure job, work until retirement, and live off what's left. This model, while functional for some, creates entire generations of people without the necessary tools to build wealth or even understand how it works. This educational gap is one of the biggest obstacles to creating a prosperous mindset and a financially empowered society. Even so, the difficulties I faced along the way turned into great learning opportunities. The challenges I encountered did not knock me down. They shaped and strengthened me. Every mistake I made, no matter how painful at the time, taught me something valuable. For example, the failure with the nylon wallet investment was devastating. Imagine accumulating 100,000 unsold products and finding yourself buried in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. For many, this would be the end of the line. For me, it was a turning point. It was then that I learned invaluable lessons about the market, consumer behavior, and above all, resilience. Mistakes are not definitive failures, but growth tools, as long as you are willing to learn from them. Indeed, it was during one of these crisis moments that I came up with one of the most successful ideas of my life: the shoe pocket. Identifying a real need, runners who had nowhere to store their keys while running, I created a simple yet innovative solution that quickly took the market by storm. This experience reinforced one of the greatest truths about entrepreneurship. The best ideas are born at the intersection of creativity and a genuine need. It's not about inventing something completely new, but about finding ways to add value in practical and efficient ways. Another crucial lesson I learned was that using your own money is easy, but often counterproductive. Those who rely solely on their own resources drastically limit their potential for growth. Raising capital, on the other hand, is a process that requires vision, courage, strategic planning, and the ability to communicate the value of what you're building. It's not an easy path, but it's the smartest one to expand possibilities and create sustainable businesses. More than just financing a project, raising capital is an exercise in collaboration and trust, both in yourself and in the people you choose to involve in your journey. That's why I firmly believe that the biggest obstacle to success is not in your wallet, but in your mind. People who constantly say, "I can't," or "I don't have money," are creating barriers that trap them. This scarcity mindset is self-limiting and prevents the exploration of possibilities. When you shift the question from "why can't I" to "how can I," something extraordinary happens. You awaken your creativity, activate your determination, and start seeing paths where you once saw only closed doors. This shift in mindset, although it seems simple at first glance, is actually the real turning point between those who remain stuck in mediocrity and those who achieve excellence. While many are paralyzed by lack of resources, unable to take the next step, visionaries have the unique ability to turn scarcity into opportunity, seeing in the challenge a chance to create something new, innovative, and meaningful. They don't see obstacles, but rather trampolines that, when used correctly, can propel them to higher levels of success. This process isn't easy or quick, but it's what defines great achievements. Turning limitations into advantages is a rare but essential skill for those who won't settle for the status quo. It's not just about money or immediate resources. It's about innovation, resilience, and the willingness to learn from every experience, even the negative ones. Life, and especially the world of business, is not a linear path of victories. It's more like a roller coaster, full of highs and lows where challenges are constant and obstacles appear in unexpected ways. Failures, far from being signs of defeat, are simply steps in the process, opportunities in disguise that, if understood correctly, can become powerful growth tools. Every mistake, every setback, and even every loss, when accompanied by reflection, offers valuable lessons that prepare us for the next challenge. The key is how we react to these situations. Instead of lamenting, innovate. Instead of freezing, learn. True failure is not when you fall, but when you refuse to get back up. It's crucial to understand that the ability to adapt, find new approaches, and reinvent yourself after a mistake is what separates those who persevere from those who give up. We all go through moments of doubt, when results aren't as we expected, or when circumstances seem to be against us. But in that moment lies the opportunity to take a new direction, pivot, and explore alternative solutions. Every failure is a chance to reevaluate and improve. It is resilience, the ability to persist even in the face of difficulties, that pushes us forward. Those with this mindset don't just survive difficulties, they use them as a springboard to achieve something greater. If there is one final lesson that my journey has taught me, it's this. Stop focusing on what you don't have and start working with what you have at your disposal. I used to spend time and energy thinking about what I lacked: resources, contacts, experiences. This focus on my limitations made me feel stuck, as if I were eternally waiting for the right moment or the ideal time to act, until I finally realized that this focus on what I was missing wasn't getting me anywhere. It was preventing me from seeing what was already within my reach. Instead, when I started focusing my attention on the opportunities around me, the people who could help me, the ideas that were already germinating, the resources I could raise, things started happening much more effectively. What you have at your disposal, no matter how small, can be the starting point for something grand. This shift in perspective is crucial because we are often led to believe that success depends entirely on ideal conditions, an abundance of resources, and fertile ground already prepared for growth. But true wealth begins with the mindset of someone who understands that it's not the resources you have, but what you do with them that truly counts. This vision allows you to see beyond momentary limitations and spot opportunities where others see barriers. Creating, innovating, and building with the resources you have at your disposal, no matter how modest, is what separates those who truly have the capacity to transform the world around them from those who remain stagnant, waiting for ideal conditions to manifest. This shift in focus is a crucial step in the journey to financial and personal freedom. It's not how much you have that determines your freedom, but your ability to create, innovate, and build with what you have. True power doesn't lie in your bank balance, but in your ability to think creatively, learn how to generate value, and take action, even when resources are limited. True wealth lies in the mindset of someone who believes that there are no insurmountable challenges, only solutions yet to be discovered. Those who can navigate through periods of adversity and still move forward, finding new ways to generate value, are much closer to achieving lasting and impactful success than those who simply depend on the resources around them. This life philosophy is what sets apart those who limit themselves to their immediate resources from those who rise above their circumstances and become creators of solutions. True wealth doesn't reside in the numbers in your bank account, but in the mindset of someone who believes that anything is possible with effort, learning, and the right strategies. The difference between the two lies in their perspective. While one group sees obstacles and limitations, the other sees opportunities and possibilities. Those who cultivate the mindset of growth and perseverance not only see success as something possible, but as something inevitable. As long as they are willing to put in the work, learn from their mistakes, and never abandon their vision, they understand that true success is not something that can be achieved in a single fleeting moment, but rather something that is built steadily and consistently over time, with each decision, each action, and each effort contributing to the larger picture. This is the secret to a life of success, fulfillment, and lasting impact. It is an internal transformation journey that, when fully embraced, is reflected externally in the results you achieve. The external world mirrors what is happening internally. Every day that you dedicate to improving your mindset and developing your skills, you are creating the path to a fuller, more meaningful life. As you evolve and push yourself forward, you start to shape not only your future, but the lives of those around you. Transformation, in its most profound form, begins within us. It begins with our beliefs, our willingness to question old habits, and the way we choose to respond to the difficulties that life throws our way. The way we choose to approach life, how we see challenges, and the actions we take in the face of adversity. This is what defines the course of our lives. The impact you have on the world around you, on the people you interact with, and, of course, on yourself, is the true measure of success. Wealth is not merely defined by what you accumulate, but by the value you contribute to the world. It is not simply a matter of financial gain or material possession. True wealth is about the relationships you build, the lives you touch, and the legacy you leave behind. The real measure of success lies in how you inspire others, in how you encourage them to see beyond their own limitations and step into their full potential. True wealth is about showing others that they too can overcome their struggles, learn, and grow into better versions of themselves. Ultimately, true wealth is about the legacy you leave, about the transformation you are capable of creating, both in your life and in the lives of others. It's about the ability to see the world not as it is, but as it can be, and acting to make it a reality. This ability to see beyond the present, to envision a future that others may not yet be able to see, is the power that resides within each of us. When we embrace this power, we can create lasting change, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of the people we influence. This is the power we all have inside us. the ability to create a lasting impact that transcends the simple accumulation of material goods. It is about the mark you leave on the hearts of others, the way you shape their thoughts, their aspirations, and their capacity for greatness. True wealth, therefore, is not something you can simply measure in numbers or material possessions. It is something far greater, more meaningful, and lasting. It is the ability to leave a legacy that is both personal and collective. It is about understanding that the real measure of success lies in how you make the world better for those who come after you, in how you contribute to the growth and upliftment of others. It is in our ability to build bridges, to create solutions, and to inspire change that we find the deepest and most enduring form of wealth. The true wealth of life is found not in what we acquire, but in what we give, how we love, and how we empower others to reach their highest potential.